My brother stole the majority of my clothing and sold it online so that he could build up his online thrifting business. And now, after losing thousands of dollars worth of clothing, I'm now demanding that my brother pay me back for the clothing that he stole from me. Because right now, I am incredibly frustrated and I don't know what to do. Here's what happened. I'm a 28-year-old female, and when I moved back to my dad's house after losing my house last spring, I brought the majority of my clothing with me and stored it in my room. I left everything in my room, and I packed one bag to travel across the country for a work opportunity in the summer. When I came home at the beginning of this year, my bedroom had clearly been picked through, and my 26-year-old brother told me that he cleaned it for me. When I asked where all my clothing was, he told me that he'd stored them in the attic, and I had no reason not to trust him, although I couldn't understand why he would do that. I had immediately launched into another job that dominated my time, and I knew a lot of my stuff was still in a storage unit, so I really didn't think about it. I told myself it was either in the attic or still in the storage. Well, I cleaned out my storage unit and realized that I had actually brought most of my wardrobe back. At the same time, my brother moved out. I asked him about the stuff in the attic over text messaging, and he told me he thought more stuff was in there than there was, and then apologized to me. And at this point, I realized that he had lied to me. I knew that he had an online thrifting business spanning across multiple platforms. I couldn't find most of his accounts, but I found one, and he was actively selling several things of mine. And I could see in the history that he had been selling things quite soon after I left for my seasonal job in 2023. However, the history was only of items where the buyers had left reviews. I confronted him in person, and he doubled down and said he donated many of my items that I had previously left behind when I was in a stage where I was moving often for school or storing things in my bedroom. He claimed he had not touched anything since 2022 and had no idea where any of these newer items were. But it's incredibly obvious that he's lying. He never admitted to selling anything online and gave me his account info for websites he would sell stuff on, all much later in the evening. Now, at that point, I saw he had removed the items from eBay he was actively selling that were mine, so I'm sure that he did that for the other websites he sells on too. My dad refuses to get involved, and I'll get kicked out of his house if I file a police report. What I really want is to see a history of the listings to give me peace of mind and confirm everything that was stolen just so I can let it go. I also want my brother to repay me several thousands of dollars at least for the items. Some individual pieces were worth upwards of $100 each, and I think at least 100 items have been stolen. I don't really know how to further confront my brother since all he does is lie, and I don't feel like I have a hand to play since I can't say I'm gonna sue him. I'm completely shocked because my brother essentially built his business off of selling clothes that he stole from me, and he is now seeing no recourse from it. My trust is completely broken, and I feel gut punched. And even to this day, he still regularly visits the family house. What should I do? Oh man, there's no way on earth I would ever let this slide. If I was in your shoes, I would be telling him straight up, you can either give me my money back for the stuff you stole of mine, or else I'm gonna have to escalate this further. Like, this is straight up robbery. Your brother stole from you. There's no other way to look at this, and the fact that your dad's like, oh, if you do that, you're gonna be out on your own. And it's like, wait a second, do you really not care that your son robbed your daughter? Like, that is insane in my opinion. How can any father in their right mind be okay with that? So I really hope you somehow get your money back for this, because the way your brother's acting, in my opinion, is completely unacceptable, and this is something he absolutely should be paying for. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. Am I the jerk for betraying my brother by outing him and ruining his relationship by exposing the fact that he's been cheating the entire time? Because right now, there's a lot of blowback from my brother and my father, and at this point, I really don't know what to do. Here's what happened. Okay, so basically, I found out that my brother, who we will call Aaron, was cheating on his girlfriend, who we will call Katie. Now, I will be honest and say at the time, I didn't really care too much, as he never holds down a relationship for long, and I wasn't willing to damage our relationship for a stranger I had not even met yet. But much to my surprise, eventually he introduced her to the family, and it seemed like he was taking this relationship seriously. Now, I thought the cheating had stopped too, but it definitely had not. Then my girlfriend became very friendly with Katie, and the two of them became best friends. That meant that she was hanging around our place all the time, and I got to know her, so she wasn't a stranger anymore. She is a cute, bubbly girl that's like made of sunshine or something like that. Anyways, my conscience ripped me a new one, especially since I also became friends with Katie. Long story short, I confronted my brother, and get this, he didn't want to stop cheating. I then consulted my queen, and she almost banished me for not speaking up sooner, so we decided to speak to Katie together. She then broke up with Aaron and moved to our place for now. Well, naturally, the fallout is incredibly heavy. My brother is beyond angry with me, as is my father. My mother is staying neutral to keep the peace, but my father especially is mad that I betrayed my brother and that I didn't put blood first. Now trust me, there's an entire rant about loyalty and family above all of this, but overall, am I the jerk for betraying my brother supposedly and choosing Katie over him? What should I do? Okay, for starters, no, you're definitely not the jerk. Like, this situation is super messed up, and the fact that your brother was okay with cheating on her and ruining this perfectly good woman, in my opinion, is not fair for her in the slightest. Like, she really did deserve the right to know. But for me, the biggest red flag here is not only that your brother is angry with you, but also your father is mad at you. And seriously, think about it for a second. He's mad at you for exposing the cheating instead of his other son who was doing the cheating. Like, how is that fair? Like, what is going on? Is your dad cheating on your mom or something like that? Like, if I had a family member who I knew was cheating on their significant other and was like actively going behind their back, I would throw them to the wolves until they redeem themselves. Like, that is unacceptable. And this is not a situation where you're supposed to put blood first, because I seriously think that is such a stupid cop-out. So no, you are not the jerk in this scenario, and if your dad and Aaron honestly have a problem with you exposing Aaron's cheating, then trust me, they're the ones with a problem and not you. My manager is constantly on my case about how I'm doing my job, while also saying that he's gonna fire me at the drop of a hat. So after dealing with this for so long, as well as putting up with his and the owner's garbage, I decided to get revenge by quitting my job literally in the middle of rush hour, putting him in a weird spot and forcing him to finally do his job. Here's what happened. Okay, so the backstory is crazy here, and the story only gets wilder. There's this small restaurant that does have a chain, but is being co-owned by two new investors who are quite young. It all started about a month ago when I was cut early by the owner of the restaurant, only for this manager to become irate at me for leaving early. This escalated without my knowledge behind my back until apparently a gasket blew, and this guy accused me of stealing one of his tables as a server and said that he was going to fire me. That was when I became aware of the situation, and the owner obviously didn't fire me because I'm a good worker. Now, I politely point out to the owner that I no longer feel comfortable working under this manager, as I feel a hostile work environment forming. Well, lo and behold, he begins to start inflating my guest counts and nitpicking me on everything he could possibly find wrong about my work. Well, easy enough. I tell the boss under no circumstances am I going to show up if I am scheduled underneath this manager. I then begin to take on more expo shifts because of said manager. I also begin to only work serving shifts on Sunday and Monday because those are the days this manager gets off. So anyways, I just quietly sit back and begin to note down a few things. For starters, I requested not only from the owners, meaning both of them, but also the lead scheduling manager to not schedule me with that manager. And secondly, I'm taking note of how this manager treats others so I can see if there's any kind of claim that he's treating me differently on purpose. Now, you can probably guess who was scheduled with that manager, but what you would have not guessed is that this occurred 2 weeks ago, and I decided to take that shift on the chin like a champ. But I decide to skip my next shift scheduled with him, and I politely notify the owners of this as well. And I really thought that there was no way that this manager could bother me as a food runner and a busser, but apparently I was completely wrong, which leads me to what happened today. Some of my friends from a couple of hours away decided to head into town not only to see me, but others who coincidentally moved into town. I asked my other manager who I work under if it would be alright to take that table, as they are my friends even though I was a food runner. They said sure, and the manager of the hour decides that when my friends arrive, he's going to attempt to block me from serving them. He attempts to tell me that it is the policy of the restaurant to not have people switching jobs mid-shift. But when he said this, I just laughed in his face, as the owners have personally asked me to switch from food runner to server more than one time before. I have even switched to kitchen duties from serving at one point. Anyways, I stopped myself from saying anything stupid, and I had to compose myself for a minute. I then proceeded to tell him to his face that I quit right in the middle of the rush hour, and I proceeded to sit at the table with my friends and begin to order beers with them. I then made sure to tip my friend who served us extra well for having to deal with my nightmare that night, because honestly, I don't regret what I did, and I really am so glad I don't have to deal with them any longer. Yeah, that job sounds like a nightmare, but honestly, you did this in the best way possible. You not only showed him right to his face that no, you cannot boss me around, but you also literally quit right in the middle of rush hour. That is like the perfect revenge, because it makes him actually do his job for once. So good for you for getting out of this job, because these people sound awful to work for. Am I the jerk for refusing to spend all of my savings just to bail my sibling out of all the debt that they have? Because right now I'm being guilt-tripped hard by my family, saying that family is more important than money and that I'm the responsible one, so I should be the one to bail them out. So right now I feel very frustrated and I really don't know what to do. Here's what happened. Okay, so my sibling recently approached me asking for help with their financial situation. Apparently, they've racked up a ton of debt over the past few years from emergency purchases and lifestyle choices. They've been struggling to manage it, and now it's at a breaking point where creditors are contacting them non-stop. Now, I've been careful with my money, working hard and saving for years to build up a bit of a safety net for myself. I'm not rolling in cash, but I've got enough set aside to feel secure. When my sibling asked me to help, they were not looking for a small loan. They wanted me to clear out nearly all my savings to cover their debts. They argued that family should help each other out and implied I was being selfish for not wanting to help them out of this mess. I tried suggesting other options, like talking to a financial advisor or consolidating their debt, but they just brushed those off, saying they would take too long and that I was their only real option. They even got my parents involved, who are now pressuring me, saying that family is more important than money and that I should do this because I'm the responsible one. Now, it's important to know that I do feel for my sibling, and I understand they're in a tough spot, but it doesn't feel fair to me to sacrifice everything I've worked for, especially when I had nothing to do with their financial choices. Now, I'm being called heartless and cold by my family, and I'm starting to wonder if I'm being selfish for holding onto my savings. So am I the jerk here for not wanting to bail my sibling out? What should I do? No, you're not the jerk here. Anyone trying to be like, oh, come on, you're the responsible one. Family's more important than money. If they really did believe that, then they would give up their money instead of trying to force you to give their money up. It's always convenient to me that people complaining that you're not following through on family obligations are also the same people not chipping in a single dime to help them out. Why should you have to give up all of your money all because your sibling was irresponsible? Like, none of this is your fault that they're in this situation. And sure, you do feel for them, but that doesn't mean you're obligated to empty your entire savings just to help them out. That seems way over the top, and there's no way I would ever agree to that. So no, you're not the jerk here because what's being asked of you is completely insane, since this problem is quite literally not your fault. Am I the jerk for refusing to follow my roommate's shower curfew routine simply because she's annoyed at how long I take in the shower? Because right now I'm really frustrated and I don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So I share a bathroom with my college roommate. This is our second year living together and we have become friends. Today I was planning to shower before going out when my roommate went into the bathroom to get ready. She typically spends about an hour in there doing her hair and makeup, and I asked if she could do her makeup in her room instead since I needed to take a shower. Well, she straight up refused, saying that she had already claimed the space and her stuff was already set up. After a brief argument where I pointed out she could do makeup anywhere while I can take a shower in the bathroom, I gave up and said that I wouldn't shower, but said that we should discuss it for the future. She then said that if we're going to talk about that, we needed to talk about the times of day that I shower. She said that I'm home all day and I should shower earlier before she's likely to get home. For reference, I do take one less class, I study at home, and I work in the mornings, while she works evenings or studies at the library. She says she often comes home when I happen to be showering, when I could have done it hours before, and then she has to wait 30 minutes on me. Then she said she thinks I intentionally time my shower use just to inconvenience her. But here's the reality of this situation. She doesn't have a consistent schedule, so I don't actually know when she's coming home. I also shower late because I like to finish my work, walk my dog one last time before bed, and shower afterwards. Also, sometimes I want to point out that when she showers before me, I regularly have to wait an hour without any kind of complaint, meaning that she's in the shower for 45 minutes and then 20 minutes for her skincare and teeth. She claims I time my bathroom use deliberately, citing one time when I texted her asking when she would be home. She replied that she was on the way, which I had read when I was getting in the shower. So in no way did I intend for that to happen. It just kind of did. And I wasn't going to jump out because she was almost home. She's also upset that maybe 6 times in 2 years, I've knocked on the door to quickly use the toilet during her hour-long bathroom sessions. And this morning proved my point when I had a sudden and very urgent need to use the bathroom right in the middle of her post-shower skin routine. Instead of letting me in, she took an extra 5 minutes and accused me of holding it until she's in the bathroom. She's completely unwilling to budge and insists I need to change the time of day when I shower so that she's not having to wait. When I mentioned that my less than 30-minute showers are much shorter to wait on than her hour-long routines, she snapped at me and said, well, we're not putting time limits on the shower. It's also important to note that my average shower times are more like 15 to 20 minutes, and we're talking like when I walk in the bathroom and when I walk back out. So this includes me brushing my teeth. So 30 minutes is a bit of an overestimation on days that I'm doing an everything shower. The point was to compare her shower length time to mine, which is much shorter in comparison. I also live in an on-campus upperclassman dorm. Housing basically will not do room switches, rules, unless your life is somehow in danger. So I think I'm completely out of luck there. She isn't living with us next year though, so I'll just have to see if I can try to resolve everything so we can somehow get through this year, even though honestly I'm not very optimistic. So truly, how should I handle this situation? Am I the jerk for asking her to do her stuff elsewhere so I can take a shower and use the bathroom? What should I do? No, you're not the jerk, and honestly, your roommate sounds like a nightmare. If I had a roommate who was like, dude, I need to use the bathroom right now, I would happily step out and be like, sure, take care of business, man, it's all good. So the fact that your friend is like, no, you're gonna have to wait, and then intentionally takes an extra 5 minutes, that in my opinion is insane. And this really is a situation where she wants a double standard. She wants you to follow all of her rules while also not wanting to follow the rules that she's setting up for you. It's like, wait a second, this goes both ways. If you have to follow some stupid rule set, then she does as well. So no, you're not the jerk here. Your roommate is clearly in the wrong, and the fact that she doesn't see that says way more about her than it ever will about you. An entitled customer demands that I remake his order, despite the fact that I did it exactly the way he described it. And after this interaction, I honestly can't wait to no longer work here. Here's what happened. Thank God I'm graduating college in the summer, because this place is exhausting after almost 3 years of working here. This will definitely be both my first and last job in a restaurant, even if I love working expo the most. So this happened a couple of nights ago while I was working a serving shift. I got this table, and the host warned me that the man is a total condescending jerk. Everybody hates him, and I was confused, since some small interactions I've had with him in the past were overall pretty pleasant. I get his drinks, and then we ended up talking for a good 10 minutes, and it turned out that he has Asperger's like me along with his son, so we took time talking about our experiences and struggles, like how when I can tell someone is being awful towards me, and my coworkers tell me I'm probably wrong, and I just didn't read the tone right because I'm autistic. Anyways, after we finished chatting, I got his food order, and here's what happened. He said to me, could I get the grilled wings with all drums and then this flavor? But I explained to him that our grilled wings can only be mixed, so we can't do all drums or all flats with them. He basically says, that's all right, sign me up. So I said to him, okay, got it. And it's all right that the grilled can only be mixed, and he said to me that this was fine. Now this will be important later on. I take his order and I go put in the grilled wings. And when the wings are ready, I bring them out to him and he says they look great, and we talk for a little bit more. I go to take care of some tables I got and eventually come back to check on him. And this is where things really took a turn for the worse. He looks at me and says, you got my entire order wrong. I didn't order it like this. I didn't want grilled. I wanted all drums. I said to him, oh, I thought you said you were fine with the grilled and them only being mixed. He said to me, no, I said it was fine and to sign me up. For regular wings and all drums, that is. And I wanted the sauce on the side. I can't eat them like this. I started saying that I was sorry, and he actually said to me, you should be. Take it back and remake it. This time the regular wings, all drums with the sauce on the side. So I take the wings and I get them remade, and I was a frazzled and confused mess. Let me tell you, it was like in the span of 20 minutes, I experienced the time I just got a boyfriend and he seemed great and chill, only to turn around after one day and be a total overbearing creep. Like seriously, this was some awful whiplash. Anyways, I got them remade and I brought them over to him. He said they were much better, and then he said to me, do you know how to meditate? I said to him yes, and he said to me, you should try doing it more. It's very good for your mind and it helps you slow down, helps you listen better. Learn to listen and listen to learn. If you did it more, you'd learn how to slow down and listen better, and you would have heard me and gotten my order right the first time. And yes, you heard that correctly. He said it like he was trying to be helpful in some kind of way. I was sent away, and then when he finally checked out, he gave me a tip over 25%, which honestly is just so confusing. But honestly, I hope I don't deal with this guy ever again, because this weirdo was completely exhausting. Yeah, that guy's a piece of garbage, and the second he told me I need to meditate more and then maybe I would have heard his order would be the moment I say, okay, I'm not helping you anymore. Like, that's unacceptable and that is so rude. So truly, I hope you do find a better job than this, because this definitely does not sound like a fun experience. Am I the jerk for not attending my sister's wedding after she purposefully disinvited my husband? Because after I told her I'm not showing up, she tried to claim that I was too attached to my husband and that I was being selfish and not supporting her. Here's what happened. Okay, so I have a sister who we will call Megan, who is getting married very soon. Our relationship has had its ups and downs, but I've always been excited for her big day. Recently though, things took a turn that have left me feeling hurt and very frustrated. Megan recently called to tell me that she decided to disinvite my husband, who we will call Tom, because she feels that he wouldn't fit in with her wedding vibe. She described him as too laid back and said that she didn't want him to bring the mood down. Now, when she said this, I was shocked, and I tried to understand her reasoning. Tom is quiet, but he's also very friendly, and he has always been supportive of my family. When I pushed back, Megan insisted that it was her wedding and she wanted it to be a certain certain way. Well, I reminded her of all the family events where Tom has been a great guest and has never caused any issues. Instead of considering my feelings, she accused me of being defensive and too attached to him. When I said I wouldn't be attending the wedding if Tom wasn't invited, she became really upset and called me selfish for not wanting to support her on her special day. Our parents have sided with her, saying I should just go and leave Tom behind. But right now, I'm feeling torn between family loyalty and standing by my husband. So am I the jerk for refusing to attend my sister's wedding? Because honestly, I'm so frustrated and I really don't know what to do. No, you're not the jerk. This is so crazy. Is Megan really accusing you of being too attached to your husband? What kind of stupid argument is that? That's the dumbest thing I think I've ever heard. That really doesn't make any sense. Speaking of not making sense, Megan is literally uninviting your husband because he's too laid back. And it's like, seriously, what on earth does that even mean? Too laid back? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Wouldn't you want someone like that at your wedding? I'm sure it's already going to be stressful enough. Like, Tom's not going to bring down the mood. He's going to be sitting there just enjoying himself and probably staying quiet. So no, you're definitely not the jerk for choosing your husband, because the way your sister's acting is completely crazy. And the fact that she would call you selfish and be like, wow, you're not going to support me, all after not inviting your husband, in my opinion, is unacceptable and absolutely should be shut down. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist at the top of the description. And if you want some chill music to put on in the background, check out easymode.com. If you like Am I the Jerk, subscribe to Am I the Genius. Everything will be linked down below in the description.